What is up, everybody? It's your boy Doody. I'm back again with another video. Now, this video, we're not going to be focusing our usual target of DSP. No, we're going to go to another locale. His brother from another mother. Wings of Redemption. That's right. Now, you say to yourself, well, why are you doing a Wings of Redemption content? Well, you guys know every so often when one of these locales do or say something extremely regarded, I like to cover it. And let's be honest, DSP's story arc has been a little slow lately, so whenever the arc is a little slow, I like to delve out and see what else the other cows are doing. And I was watching a Lumix video this morning, and I noticed that Wings of Redemption has decided to chime in and give his thoughts on the recent Trump issue that came up. That's right. The I don't want to say the word because I don't want YouTube to demonetize this video. But if you know, you know, right? So if you guys know, Trump and his administration were taking part in the yearly White House Correspondents' Dinner when some lunatic came in and tried to, well, let's just say off the president. And, this isn't a political video. I don't really cover politics. Most of you know that watch my content know where I stand politically. But this isn't a political take at all. It's not. This is more of a stupidity, focusing on the stupidity and how Wings of Redemption can't help himself. He really can't. The man can't help but, open his mouth and insert his foot in it whenever he can. And, I've let up on Wings in the last couple years because I've been finding him extremely boring and he's been doing his best to keep his nose clean. But every so often he says something very stupid that should be called out. And that's what happened here. That's right, folks. So shout out to Lumix. He posted this video. I was watching it and I was like, my Lord, really? Really, Wings? And I had to take a double take. So I had to re-listen to what he had to say. It's a short clip, but I thought it would be good to cover it. And, just, good God, Wings, man. You're an embarrassment, not only to you, to this country, to everyone. You need to just sometimes just shut up. Learn discernment, Wings. Learn to read the room. Good God, man. I guess the 15 years of harassment that he's dealt with online isn't enough for him. And he decides that, oh, this feels great. As much as I complain and yell about being depressed and, everything else, and his life is miserable, and if it wasn't for Fallout 4, he probably wouldn't be here. No, he decides to double down and says something extremely regarded. Now, I'm gonna shut off the music and let it play because I don't want anyone to not hear what he said. And yeah, we'll comment on it. Good God, man. Let's shut off the music. We'll play the music once he's done talking. So let's get into it.
On Trump's third assassination attempt. I need to learn more about the assassination attempt that happened last night. I mean, a guy did bring a gun.
Okay, right there, that wasn't bad. All right, I that's what you should do when you don't know the story. Your best response when someone asks you a question, well, there's two potential responses. One, you ignore it, which is probably the safe bet, especially if you're Wings of Redemption. The second response is, I am not educated enough. I'm not aware. I haven't looked into it to give a proper educated response. So at this time, I don't want to talk about it. I will say that any attempts at, taking the life of anyone in politics or just anyone in general is horrific, and I condemn it. And that's it. You leave it like that, brother, okay? Even if you feel a certain way politically about someone, you don't shoot yourself in the foot there, okay? And you don't have half of the internet despise you because you said something extremely stupid. Now, again, this isn't a political take. I would be saying the same thing if he said this about Obama, Biden, Clinton. It doesn't matter to me. If you're old enough to know or a student of history and what we've dealt with in the past with politicians and people, taking going to the extreme because they disagree with someone politically. I mean, just go research the 60s and see how well that went, okay? Go look at the riots in California. Go look at, after the assassination of JFK, of RFK, of Martin Luther King. It wasn't a great time, okay? I mean, the 60s were just not good for this country. And for you to just flippantly, because this is what he did. He says his next comment extremely flippant. It's disgusting, Wings, and you know better than this because you know that you have hundreds of people that thousands of people that follow you, that troll you and clip you. And you know that this is going to get out and people are going to respond negatively. And this is the reason why I'm here responding to this. So, you guys ready for the comment? Okay, here it is.
I mean, a guy did bring a gun to Trump, so you might as well call that an assassination attempt. But it's like he did such a shit job at it.
Okay, his focus is not the attempted Minecrafting of a sitting president, right? No, that's not the focus. The focus is this guy is stupid and it was a lame attempt. That's really your focus, Wings? That's what you really want to focus on? Not that this is horrible, this is detestable, this is stuff that fractures countries. Again, half of the country feels a certain way politically and the other half feels another way. I wouldn't say about 40% of the country, well, 30%, 33% of the country is right leaning, very hardcore conservative. 33% of the country is left leaning, very progressive and liberal. And then you got the other 33 that either don't care or they're moderate or really don't feel passionate enough to really give a shit. Okay? That's how it breaks down. So you need to be careful, Wing. You either need to be careful or just not care and just put your foot on the neck and go in hard, like Hassan or whoever. But know that when you do that, you're going to get slammed and people on the other side are going to tear you apart. So don't sit here tomorrow or the next day and complain that people are attacking you for what you said, okay? I'm going to replay it again because I'm sorry I did interrupt, but I had to say something because he's just so stupid. All right, let's keep going.
Third assassination attempt. I need to learn more about the assassination attempt that happened last night. I mean, a guy did bring a gun to Trump, so you might as well call that an assassination attempt. But it's like he did such a shit job at it. It's like it's not me trying to say, oh, people should be successful at doing that. Nah, if you don't like somebody, vote them out. But
then why did you say that? Why did you comment? Maybe your statement just should have been that you don't go after people and try to take their lives. You just vote them out if you disagree with them politically. That would have been a perfectly normal take, Wings. But you decided to chime in and say and focus initially that the guy was an idiot because he wasn't successful. So what? You would have sat there and praised him if he would have been successful, like if he would have been smart enough to have a plan in place. You would have been telling, "Wow, he did a great job." Is that what you're saying, Wings? Is that really what you're trying to convey here?
But it's like how do you call it an assassination attempt when like he pretty much got stopped at the door and got fucked up?
Okay, Wings. So, all right. Let me use an analogy that maybe you can understand. Let's say that someone comes to your house and threatens you, but they don't get in the door. Would you still consider that to be a crime? Would you call the police and report that as an attempted threat or whatever? Would you do that? I'm pretty sure you would, right, Wings? So again, there you have to look at intent. Just because he wasn't successful doesn't mean shit. His intent was malice. He was willing to go in there and his intent was to do harm. Good. But again, this guy, these locals, for some reason, they have zero empathy for anyone else and can't put themselves in someone else's shoes. They're so insular, they're so neurotic, they're so narcissistic that everything is just me, 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 me. And they just can't see how this is pretty fucked up.
I don't eat Five Guys enough.
All right, that's the clip right there. It was short. It was pretty, it was like whatever. It was kind of a throwaway for him. But really, Wings, really, that's what you want to focus on. That's what you want to say. And again, bro, you got 15 years of internet hatred for shit that you've said. That's what's gotten you in trouble, Wings. Not that you're fat, not that you play shitty video games, not that you break controllers. What's gotten you in trouble year over year is the shit you say, okay? The age of consent, what you did to those cats, what you did to those other pets, what you did with that, with Shalene's kids and the enema thing. year over year, you just saying stupid ass regarded shit and getting called out for it, and then scream my depression and I'm sad and I get trolled inappropriately, or I said that in a joking manner, it was just humor, or I was just trying to entertain people. How about you do yourself a favor, Wings, and everyone else? Stop trying to entertain people with this shit. You remind me of fucking DSP when DSP sat there and said, "Oh well, the reason why I use sexual humor, no, the reason why I said sexual things, racist shit, prejudice shit in my content was because I was trying to make people laugh." That's not an excuse, again, for being a shitty person. It's not. And you sitting here making light of this assassination. And of course, I don't give a shit who it was, whether it was Trump, Obama. I don't care. The mere fact that that would happen in this country, it's not cool. And every American should condemn that shit, regardless of how you feel. Because again, what you're trying to do and what that person is trying to do is stifle debate. That's what they're trying to do. You don't agree with someone politically, you vote them the fuck out. You don't sit there and try to, take them out yourself, okay? And you making light of this and trying to joke and talk about how this guy was a shitty person for not getting it right is fucking shitty and scummy, and you should be called out for it. Good God. You know what it is, too? These people like Wings, they always feel like they need to have a hot take. Oh, I need to say something controversial. I have a hot take to be deemed interesting or to be deemed, informative. No, 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 no. People that do that tend to know the least, are not informative, and are not entertaining. They're just saying something just to get a rise out of people. And that's been your whole career. And the problem is that if you want to do that, Wings, cool, fine. Yeah, do that. Knock yourself out. But when you get blowback and people crap on you and dump on you, don't sit there and leave for 5 days because of your depression. Don't blame gaining 100 pounds of weight on your trolls. Don't do that. Own that shit. If you want to be a scumbag, own being a fucking scumbag. If not, don't be a scumbag. Jesus Christ, Wings, really? All right. Anyway, shout out to Lumix. Big ups for this video. It was a short clip, but still, when people do stupid shit like this, they should be called out on it. They really should. And again, this isn't a political rant. I don't give a shit who you voted for, who you like, who you dislike. I really don't really give a shit. Okay? But this isn't cool. All right? And this isn't funny. And this isn't some hot take. And you're not a shock jock. Okay, Wings? So stop being a doucher. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Peace out.